Hi guys, welcome back to the Curly Reader. Today I want to share with you what I'm planning to read during November for Nonfiction November. So Nonfiction November is a month-long read-along that is hosted by a book Olive, and during this month she's encouraging everybody to pick up more nonfiction books than what they typically would. So whether that means just reading one nonfiction book throughout the month or whether that means reading more than that, whatever. So I guess this is her 5th year doing this. This is the first year that I am participating in this, and I'm excited because I don't typically read a whole lot of nonfiction, but I've read some really good ones this year that I've really enjoyed. And so I thought that this would be a really fun way to kind of explore a few different other areas of nonfiction and maybe find some new favorites. So she has set out 4 different challenges, I guess. They're one-word prompts that you can interpret any way that you want. And so I like that she just does the one word. That way it can be whatever you want and you can just kind of run with it. So there are 4 different words that she has given for this year. And the first one is sport. For me, I am going to be reading Seabiscuit for this prompt. I recently watched Lindsay's Little Libraries video about her wrap-up of Seabiscuit, and it had kind of been on my radar after I read Unbroken earlier this year, but she really enjoyed Seabiscuit as well. They're both by the same author, and so I figured why not. So, and this is a story of Seabiscuit, and it has to do with horse racing and jockeys and training the horses and all of that. So I thought that that would fit really well for this prompt. So I'll be reading that. I will most likely be listening to the audiobook of that one. The next one-word prompt is design, and for this one I am interpreting it to mean design of the book, and that's because I'm going to be reading a graphic novel, and I'm going to be reading The Complete Persepolis. This is 2 different books, I think, bound up into one. I don't know what the 2 individual books are called, but yeah. So, but it's a fairly thick, and it is completely illustrated graphic novel, obviously. So I am going to be reading that. This is a memoir of a girl growing up in Iran. And so, yeah. But I thought that that would fit well for that challenge. If I have time, I may also pick up the 2nd and 3rd book of the March series by John Lewis, but it just depends on what's going on. I have a lot going on in November, as you will see in subsequent videos, but if I have time, graphic novels read fairly fast, so that shouldn't be an issue. So the next one-word prompt is true, and I struggled a little bit with this one because in my perspective, the whole point of nonfiction is that it is true, and so I just didn't really understand which direction to go with this. But I finally decided that I am going to be reading Night by, I think it's pronounced Elie Wiesel. This is very, very short. It is about a boy who was taken into Auschwitz, and he's an Auschwitz survivor, and it's just kind of his story. So I thought that this has been sitting on my shelf for a while, and I would really like to get it read, and this is a perfect opportunity to do that. Also, if I have time, once again, it just depends on my time, I also would really like to read Evicted, and I don't remember the author of this book, but I'll put a picture of it up here. And this is just a story of poverty and kind of the housing crisis, and I'm pretty sure it takes place in Wisconsin, maybe? I'm not 100% sure. But I think it's Wisconsin. And yeah, I've been wanting to read that one for a long time as well, but it just depends on my timing and what I actually have time for. And then the last prompt that Olive has kind of put out there is voice. And for this, I am going to be reading, most likely listening to, The Good Neighbor. And this is the story of Fred Rogers. And once again, I forgot to write down the author because totally on it today, but once again, put it up here. But Yeah, this is just the story of Fred Rogers, and I know it's gotten a lot of traction lately. It is a lot of people reading it because the new Mr. Rogers movie is coming out soon, I think, and I'm very, very excited for that. But I've been wanting to read this since it came out and just haven't gotten around to it. And so, yeah, I thought that this would be a good opportunity to. And Mr. Rogers' voice is one that we all know, we all love, we all admire. He sings throughout his shows. So I thought that was properly relevant to this prompt, as well as just the message that he sends when he speaks. And so, yeah, I thought that this fit really well with that challenge. So I will be reading this one for sure. So, anyway, those are the books that I am planning on reading for Nonfiction November. If you are planning on participating in Nonfiction November, I'd love to hear some of the books that you're planning on reading. Also, if you've read any of these books, I always love to hear your comments about the books that you've already read and to get your feedback on them. But anyway, I think that's going to do it for me for today. I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you stick around and subscribe. And until next time, see ya!